afternoon, dental internet world. My name is Dr. Vishal Sharma, and for the first time, I'm not alongside my friend and co-host, Dr. Mike Parchewski, but we will be recording in a separate location. Mike, it's great to see you, albeit virtually. It's a great summer here in Calgary. Lots of rain, lots of greenery and lushness, and exactly kind of reminds me of the Emerald Isle. And we're going to pivot over to introduce our guest. We're lucky to have her, and she certainly brings a lot of experience and technical expertise and a bit of the luck of the Irish. So, Mike, introduce our guest, please.
Great, Vish. And yeah, it's a little bit lonely over here in this room, but I think I can pull through. Today's guest, very excited to have her with us. It's Flannery Nangle, Director of Commercial Marketing, Connected Tech Solutions with Dentsply Sirona. And the luck of the Irish comes from her being a graduate of Notre Dame. And again, Flannery, super excited to have you. And maybe to start off, I'll ask you just maybe to give us a bit of your background and kind of what first sparked your interest into the digital dentistry world. I know you're a big proponent involved in the DS Core and a lot of the big launches at Dentsply, but give us a bit of your origin story.
Yes. Well, first, thank you so much for having me join you all. I mentioned it before, but I'm usually the one behind the camera, so I'm a little nervous as I go through and have the interview, but very excited to be with you both. And as you mentioned, in my role, I'm really responsible for the commercial launch strategies, working from product launches with our GBU to our sales campaigns, and supporting our sales team both in US and Canada. So I've been with DS about 6 years through lots of different launches. And when I joined the company, I was super excited about joining just because I've seen it firsthand, the product's impact practices. So I come from a line of dentists. My grandfather was a dentist long before digital dentistry really took hold, so more analog there. And then my uncle and my dad's best friend, both dentists that had CEREC in their practice, had DS, CBCTs. So I really saw it and experienced it as a patient, and that really made me super excited about joining DS. And then from there, I've been very involved in all things technology. So that's a little bit of the background.
That's a cool story with the familial connection. And so, Flannery, I'll talk about some of the exciting aspects or what was groundbreaking from a tech perspective and what really drew you to the DS Core project.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have to give credit where credit is due. There is hundreds of research and development individuals who are based in Zurich, in Germany, and Bensheim, as well as the product management team that's based over in Germany. So a huge group in supporting all of the efforts on DS Core, looking at workflows and needs for prioritization. Our side was really more about in 2021 when it launched, really supporting the commercial efforts. So when it first launched, a lot of people, I mean, it was pretty basic. We laid the foundation with file storage and really basic sharing, but I think it's come so far from that. I mean, we laid the foundation and I think built 100 stories since then. So in the last year, there was 185 updates just on DS Core, major updates. And then certainly minor updates throughout the time. And we've added so many different tools beyond just the basic functionality. So the ordering portal to be able to communicate between practices and the labs in a more real-time, seamless way. The communication canvas, which I think is the coolest. It's kind of, my colleague calls it a digital mood board, pulling all of those files and having that all in one place. And then, of course, Sure Smile simulation or simulator, being able to see before and after. So those were big updates that have come along the way, but probably the most groundbreaking, which I was very excited and was over in Germany for last year, was the first cloud-based device with PrimeScan 2 that's powered by DS Core, all of the scanning software living in the cloud. And I think first to market, and truly a big technical accomplishment that was all integrated in DS Core.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah, I think the
And
PS2 has been great.
besides the Prime Scan 2, like how do you see the tech continuing to evolve and improve, specifically in the way that clinicians are interacting with patients, with that data, with treatment planning? Like what sort of evolution can the user expect moving forward?
Yeah. So I think there's making those files actionable in a more efficient way is the entire goal of DS Core. It's about simplifying and allowing you to see more and do more. And coming down the pike, there's going to be more diagnostic tools, being able to use those files in different ways. And in Europe, they've already launched the Smart View. So that's something that will be coming to the North American market, where it's bringing AI visualizations to the CBCT to be able to see the tooth, the canal, and again, support your diagnosis in different ways. So all of that, that will be coming, and there's so many more tools that are going to be able to be added because of the data and all of those files being in one place.
Yeah, I think from an initial standpoint, when DS Core came out, I think everybody was expecting it to do everything at once. And I think there's been an appreciation now just how big of a project the DS Core was, and how simple it is now to share files, share cases, work with specialists, collaborate. All of these features, which really change how we interact with each other and get support on cases, even all the changes coming for lab communication. And it's amazing as you get into the DS Core how big of a project this really is. And I think people, once they get more and realize what it's doing, have a bit better appreciation that, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you can't expect full CBCT functionality from the get-go. So I think some of those little shortfalls have been masked by the fact that, the user friendliness has been great. And I think with the PS2 integration, has, like you said, has been a game changer. And I think that's really bridged the DS Core being into our office. Is that part of it? Just jumping on to the side for a second here, you've spent some time living in Europe while working on this project. And as you had mentioned about some of the stuff that's already available in Europe, how was that experience for you professionally, personally? How did you enjoy that? And how was the collaboration over there while working on this project?
Yeah, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that DS afforded me to do it. It was both personally and professionally an awesome experience. I guess business first, like being able to see how the sausage is made, working really closely with individuals that I don't often get the opportunity in my commercial role as much. Get to know them, work with them, seeing all that they're doing was very valuable. And then the other thing is just networking. So not only from our product group side, but from other commercial organizations from APAC, Australia, New Zealand, Europe, meeting the individuals. There's a great knowledge share that goes around, but also it's helpful to know who to reach out to at different times. So that was really cool. And then seeing the perspective from a product launch from the product group side, all of the details and the different team members that have to collaborate for everything to move along the way was very valuable. So that professionally was a great experience, and again, thankful for it. And then personally, it was very fun and a good experience for me to live over in Europe. It felt like a semester abroad, but no longer staying at hostels. So I tried to hop along on the trains and benefited from the trains over there and go different places every single weekend.
Yeah, it's amazing
How's your
how
German
much of the
now,
world.
Flannery?
Yeah,
Nicht gut.
that's pretty good. That's pretty
I
good.
tried, but they just spoke English back to me.
Such a bilingual place. I know it's
Yeah,
difficult to practice that.
yeah.
Um, and so obviously you talked about the Smart View and that availability in Europe already. One of the things I'm most excited for with the evolution of dentistry, and I can now see DS Core as the centralized conduit for this, is AI adaptation, machine learning. So, we've incorporated that with radiology, which I think is the tip of the iceberg, but I'm excited to see diagnostics and then even AI design aspects. What future developments are you most excited about within DS Core, similar platforms? And, can you give us a little bit of a peek behind the curtain as to maybe what might be coming out regarding that?
Yeah, so I think definitely, I mean, you mentioned it, the more data you're able to collect and be able to learn from, and that's the benefit of cloud computing and having that. So there's certainly a lot of opportunity. I think from core perspective, what I was most excited about when we launched was simplification. We had over 100 different softwares. Many of, while on premise, had AI features in them, like Sarek does with the design. So I'm really excited, and it's a big effort and it's going to take a lot of time, but the evolution of more of the software being added to DS Core, and then you'll have, again, AI components as part of that, but it's going to take some time. So that's a big one. And it's not necessarily AI area, but the other big benefit is connecting the equipment with DS Core. So getting that device health from the equipment, and we're able to see where there might be an issue for the customer. And PrimeScan 2 is a perfect example. We can see where practice might not have a great experience scanning and then proactively reach out because we have that data available.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like that's, one of the components, technology is such a double-edged sword. Like it is exceptional. Certainly I'm happy to be practicing in this era, less than your grandfather's era. But of course, sometimes there's some hiccups with it as well. So having that instantaneous support or them being able to see at Dentsply Sirona on the back end, what's going on would be hugely advantageous. So, and then besides sort of DS Core and the AI capabilities and the connected technologies, anything else that is coming out on the dental horizon that you're excited about?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mentioned it. There's going to be more diagnostic aid tools probably, and that's where it's a lot focused. As I mentioned, we're all about, and that's the premise of DS Core, see more and be able to do more with less. So less time, less patient visits, less manual updates. I don't have a crystal ball for all the emerging technology that's coming out, but at the end of the day, it has to come back to solving for an unmet need, whether it's growth, efficiency, or improving patient outcomes. So I think there's lots to come, and whether or not it's DS or not, that I'm always looking out of what's coming next because it makes us better. It's advancing digital dentistry and certainly at times making us raise our game for sure.
Now, question. I know some people have been talking about the AI coming. We know that the nerve mapping and things like that coming from the CBCT side. What other AI features are on the pipeline for analysis, let's say occlusion markings, STL files, or the CBCT? What are some of those areas that are being looked at?
Yeah, I can tell you they are looking at everything in terms of product roadmap and timeline. It's going to take some time. So at this point, I mean, what is for sure, DS, it's already launched in Europe. That was one we'll have. And then over time, we'll have the quarterly releases. And I think the one thing that I think is a challenge, we went from having software releases once every year, right? So those big software release, now it's quarterly updates with the incremental improvements along the way. And like everyone else that you mentioned, like what's coming next? How quickly can we move? So that's honestly one of the biggest challenges, the prioritization of all of those efforts underway.
Yeah, there's lots to look at. From the
185 updates is staggering.
Yeah.
It's a staggering number. And Mike, I know you can sort of this resonates with you, is when we were transitioning away from workflows that worked really effectively that we were accustomed to, it's always a bit of a hassle or inconvenience. But as we've onboarded like new assistants and we're training them, and it's a much more simplified workflow, I'm looking back and thinking, this is a much more simplistic system, easier to onboard. Obviously, when you're accustomed to something and you're transitioning, change is always difficult, but it's really starting to crystallize. So yeah, hard to believe 185 updates. I don't even know the last time I updated my iPhone, Mike. So I got to get on that. I just keep hitting tonight.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm curious of all those. I mean, I mentioned some of the big updates, but from both your perspectives, what's been from your like the biggest game changer in using core in your practice?
I don't want to give away too much on my webinar tonight. No,
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I think the main aspects for me is number one, external communication has been really simplified. Like we try to internalize Flannery as much as we can, but
Mhm.
there's scenarios where, we did an 8-unit veneer case in office and the following week we outsourced one. So just being able to communicate seamlessly with the lab, sending digital files, whether it's a video of the temps, whether it's digital scans, having the lab be able to create a temporary shell that they can then send me back that I can print on my prime print for simplistic try-in. I think that all has been really exciting for me. And then what I'm most, I think, looking forward to is just being able to design everything within core, whether it's CERAC or whether, we're night guards. And, if I don't want to design it and I want to outsource that to a lab, we can do that. But now we're still able to utilize our hardware to execute that treatment. I'm just leveraging someone else for design services. So that's what I'm most excited about. And
Mhm.
certainly the communication aspect. You don't realize how onerous and difficult and time consuming all that communication is until you have one centralized hub where it's easy to send all that out.
Mhm.
Yeah. I think
Mike, what
from my perspective, we've really taken hold in our office of the hygienists using the PS2 for those prelim scans, new patient exams, and so that's been really great. Using the different NERI and the different caries views been great. And then from the get go, I think the canvas has been big for us because we're doing a lot of complex implant cases. So we're able to share the canvas to our labs and also have sort of remote conversations with patients, give them some looks at their wax ups and how their facial impressions and scans are going to look and how their new smile is going to look. And then we're able to make some changes with the lab, even and do some of this stuff remotely with the patients. And so that's been a big case acceptance, case presentation for us. And I agree with Vish that once we're able to use the PS2 and do like CEREC workflow within the software, and as these things get added, it's just going to make our workflows faster, easier, which is kind of where AI is taking us, right? It's really about doing more things for us so we can see more of the analysis and the data so that we can make better decisions for our patients faster and speed up that new patient exam and speed up, predicting what, if we don't take action on a patient, what's going to happen in 5 years or 10 years. And I think that's where the power of AI is going to be huge, is on predictive values. And so I've been really happy with that. One more question I had on it, with the PMS integrations like practice management softwares and that, I know some of the cloud-based softwares are trying to see about working with DS Core to be able to, bring the x-rays in and out and bring files in and out. Has there been any prioritization on that side with working with like Dentrix or some of the bigger practice management systems?
Yes, definitely. So that's an area of focus. And we have open API, so that works common language with most of the PMS systems. And then Dentrix, we have been working with, and they're able to pull, they have the first integration and be able to pull files from DS Core into the system. So that's an area of focus for us for sure.
The integrated world, right?
Mm-hmm,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, it's very cool. I mean, for me, being inside of this stuff, I still, such a daunting task seeing how many moving pieces and having to talk to all of these different softwares, how complex that is.
Yeah.
Now that you've come back from Europe and you're back in North Carolina, back at Charlotte, so right now, what's your key focus? Is it on the quarterly releases, and what other projects or initiatives are you working on?
Yep. So in my role, I'm really supporting the technology across our portfolio. So iOS, CBCT, 3D printing. So we're working GBU on the evolution of product updates and communication of those. but the significant area of focus right now is certainly on DS World, and we're excited for the event coming up in September, and we're 3 short months away. So getting prepared on that from both supporting the content, the event activities, but definitely some exciting updates being released there as well.
Very cool. Yeah, we're looking forward to that for sure. And maybe one more question on the DS Core. For the dentists that are getting involved and are thinking of signing up, getting into DS Core, any advice for these dental professionals as they start to go into the world of the cloud, start integrating, picking up a PS2? Any advice for them on how to integrate this into their practices?
Yeah, so I think education is key, both for the dentist and their team, and there's lots of opportunities. We mentioned the webinar tonight that Dr. Sharma is doing, but we have a regular cadence of webinars that support and bring more of the clinical perspective. Tools are available, but how are you using it in your practice to give more of the use case scenario? So definitely recommend that. From DS Core perspective, we also have what's called the Core Success Team. So on our website, and you can link to it, but it's a one-on-one appointment that walks through everything on DS Core. So it can give an overview, run through how to add equipment to your DS Core account, and guide you along in using it. But across the board for technology and DS Core, it's definitely the education, and in addition to what we have at DS, when you purchase equipment, we have the education through CDocs that comes with it. So that also gives a credible experience to either go to Scottsdale or Charlotte and get some hands-on training as well.
Yeah, super helpful.
Speaking of training, we've got DS World coming up, as you mentioned, in only 3 short months. We know you've been busy with the planning and organizing of that. What can participants expect this year?
Yeah, so another great event. I love DS World, and we have fantastic entertainment lined up. So 2 evenings of entertainment and a keynote speaker. We have Dana Carvey, who will be on Thursday evening, and I'm sure he'll bring his impressions, which I'm so looking forward to. And then we have a concert with Sheryl Crow. So you will definitely hear me singing All I Want to Do. And then lastly, we have Ellen Latham, who's the keynote speaker. She's the creator and co-founder of Orange Theory. So, and personally, I was at Orange Theory this morning, so I'm super stoked to listen to her talk about community and bringing technology into that environment. So great entertainment lineup, and then we have fantastic clinical courses lined up to really support multiple indications, whether new users or really advanced digital users. There's lots of great content. And then, of course, the networking, which is my favorite part, seeing everyone, the community getting out there. Are you excited for DS World this year?
I've heard some whispers of some of the things that will be launched and announced.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited for it. It's always a great social event, and I'm excited to see it back at the MGM. I think from a networking and a restaurant perspective, it's one of the best restaurant areas. So yeah, I'm certainly excited. And I just got an invite to go have a material discussion on the Wednesday. So it looks like I'm flying in again on the Tuesday. So it'll be a long week, but it's always fun.
Yeah, it is a long week in Vegas, and yes, there will be lots of announcements, so it's always good to be there and hear it first.
Yeah.
And Flannery, to wrap up with our last
Mhm.
questions, you had some great advice for dentists or dental professionals who are looking to, learn more about DS Core, some of these digital workflows. The Core Success Team was a great suggestion. But what about someone sort of outside of dentistry, maybe a programmer or a tech enthusiast who's looking to get involved in the dental field? What advice would you have for them?
I think there's so much about different events that go on locally, regionally, to be able to go to, and even education, whether there's LinkedIn, different events. So definitely recommend that. But I think the most important thing is networking. And what I've been thankful for is I think the dental community is fantastic and very warm and welcoming to be able to go in, pick someone's brain, get some feedback. So that's the number one thing that I would definitely recommend.
That's great advice. Flannery, thanks so much for being a guest. you should spend more time in front of the camera and behind the camera. So this was great, very informative. And I know Mike and I are both thankful for the integral role you played in DS Core. When it first was launched, I was a bit, uncertain as to what the future would hold. But now when we get a bit of a peek behind the curtains, it's certainly exciting as to what's coming down the pipeline. So we'll be seeing you probably in Charlotte in a couple of weeks and maybe on the webinar tonight as well. So yeah, thanks for joining us and being such a great guest.
Well, thank you so much for the opportunity. It was great to chat with you both.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Flannery. Thank you, Vish. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and DS World will be great. I am definitely looking forward to that. Realistically, for me, the big thing is catching up with all the colleagues and the friends and just find out what people have been up to. You just can't beat that in person. And so everybody take care. Please like and subscribe at Digital Workflow Dentistry on all the socials. Take care, everybody.